I just spent £20,000 on this CNC machine, but can it actually pay for itself? Keep watching, we'll find out. Why did I buy a CNC? Well, before I had the machine, I used to make everything by hand. So I'm really a traditional joiner. So for example, shaker doors like we got behind me, table saw, planer thicknesser, router table or spindle. And you know, it's fine, but it takes time. So I work on my own here. So what I really wanted to do was make the company and the business and what I do more efficient and speed things up. And what I really want is to be able to scale my company. I don't see this as just a joinery company and that's the end of it. What I really want is to become a manufacturing company. So through buying the CNC, first of all, it gave me precision. There's no, it's a mill out and we have to make it again or we have to take a bit off. It's right every time. It doesn't make mistakes. It probably does the work of 3 at a push 4 employees, and of course, you know, that's all based on the fact that you know how to program it correctly. And I saw lots of other companies, they started using CNCs, especially with the tool change and stuff. It was just a no-brainer for me, doing signage and furniture. So that's really why I went for it. I started off with an open builds 4 foot by 4 foot machine. I bought that at the start of 2024. So nearly 2 years ago. And I ran that machine for 18 months. And I primarily used it for curved work. So I do quite a lot of work for hotels, restaurants, and there's quite a lot of curved seating we were doing. So I would use that for either templating, I'd use it for making curved boards for upholstery to go on, and I also did a bit of signage with it. So it was really useful, and that machine cost me £2,000. I made that money back in probably 2 months. But I think this is something I really want to hone in on, is that I was in the position where I already had work for it before I bought it. It just made life easier. So I was kind of on an upper hand with it. It started making money straight away. I'm not saying that it was busy every day, because it wasn't. And there was a lot of problems with that machine, which we're going to talk about in a bit. So anyway, 6 months ago roughly, I bought an Opus Olympus ATC machine. It's an 8x4 automatic tool change. It's actually a single phase machine, which I actually bought the machine second hand. I paid £15,000, and I also had to pay for stuff like extraction. I had to install a new electrical system in the workshop to make sure I had enough power to feed the machine. Then I've also had to go in and I've had to pay for Vectric Aspire. I also use SketchUp for a lot of my cabinet work, so I had to buy a copy of SketchUp, which was, I think, was like around £400 for the year. So that'll be a yearly fee. And I also use a plugin in SketchUp called Cabinet Sense, and I'm going to talk about that in another video. I'm going to do a specific Cabinet Sense video. That's £100 a month. Then we've got tooling. The machine did come with a few tools, but they'd had a hard life. So I bought various new tools for it, and that's something you buy regularly. So yeah, the costs are quite high. Like I say, it's probably cost me £20,000. that's my investment before I could start making money with the machine. So CNC it's a learning curve. A lot of us that are getting into this, we're not coming from a CNC background, so mistakes get made, and I'm going to show a few clips now while I'm talking of things that have happened, and some of the pitfalls of it is really trial and error. We're learning all the time. So I think, you know, when you first get the machine, it's not just push button manufacturing, there's a lot to learn. You might already be an absolute wizard on CAD, however, learning your machine, its limitations, because every machine has limitations, especially me here, like I touched on already, single phase power, so I'm already low on power. That's fine, the CNC doesn't actually use much power, it's the vacuum pumps. To hold a workpiece down properly, you need a really good vacuum, so that's just one of the things. Yeah, I mean, you will ruin sheets of material, 50, £100 sheets of material. You'll snap cutters. You might forget to set your Z height correctly, so you might cut into your vacuum bed. I haven't done that, fortunately, but I was lucky. See, I used that open builds machine, and I did make all of those mistakes on that machine. So that would probably be my first bit of advice. Don't go in balls deep and buy a top of the range machine. Get yourself something simple, a more cost effective machine to learn on. Make your mistakes on that one, and then by the time the proper bit of kit comes, you've hopefully got past all that. We only make mistakes once, don't we, usually? So it's a good way to learn. Start small and work your way up. But after a few weeks of using the big machine, you really start to see its potential, and new ideas just start coming like this. And now I'm going to talk about a bit of what I make with it and what actually makes me the most money. And I'm going to be completely honest about how much I make with this machine, or how much I can make with the machine. So in the UK at the moment, there's a trend going on, and a few years ago it was media walls. Everyone wanted media walls. I don't know why, they're quite nice, I've done quite a few of them, but there's a new trend, and it is wall paneling. Now, this is a piece of 6mm MDF. I buy an 8x4 sheet of this for around £15. I then put it on the machine with a V cutter, a V groove cutter, and I simply cut V grooves at 100mm spacings into the board, and you've then got a product that you've manufactured. So I buy these at £15, like I said, plus VAT. I sell them for £42 plus VAT. It's quite a good markup. Each panel takes me around 15 minutes to make. So let's do the math on that. I should have already done the math, but I haven't. So, okay, so I'm resorting to calculator here. So let's do that. So 42 minus 15. So that's essentially £27 profit per panel. Like I said, it will make one in 15 minutes. I could probably cut that down to 10 minutes if I sped it up, but I like the speed that I've got the machine running. So 27 times 4, so that's £108 an hour. Like I say, you could ramp that up to you could probably get another one in. So £135 profit per hour. Of course, look, we've got costs of running costs, and electric, tooling, that all needs to be kept sharp and replaced. You've got your time going to collect the materials. Often people will want these delivering. So I've been advertising these on Facebook Marketplace locally. The reason I started doing these is because I've used them for quite a few projects, and to actually go and buy them, you have to travel. They're not something that people keep in stock. Another reason is big companies are charging anywhere between 90 and 150 pounds per sheet. The beauty of me here is I'm a one-man band. My overheads are really low compared to these big manufacturing companies, so I can undercut them a lot and still make really good money. So yeah, there's loads of different designs you can do. There's the V-groove like that, the button bead, which obviously these go up in price. Then we've got like the fluted panels, ribbed panels, and it's all super easy to do on one of these machines. So it is like a little miniature production line, really. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about. It's a good way of making money straight away with your machine, and you can undercut me as well and probably still make a lot of money and get some good customers through it. Other things I make with a machine. So some of you might have already seen the Shake a Door video I did last week. So that's an absolute game changer for me. As I touched on previously, I'm bypassing all that stage of gluing up, hoping it's square. These are just perfect every time now. There's no, oh, it's this, it's that. They're just spot on. All my cabinetry carcasses I use the Lamello Cabineo fittings for assembling and holding together all the cabinets. I use Conformat, they're a Conformat screw. They're quite a small self-tapping wood screw, which is great for MDF. I do signage, so I do like engraved oak signs for houses and businesses. Another thing I've really had a push on is selling to other businesses. This is great because it's regular income. So for example, there's a printing group up the road that I work with, and they send me, like you saw at the start of the video, they send me parts to cut out. So whether that be on Dive Bond, which is like an aluminium backed panel, acrylic, Foamex, so all of their basically cutting work. Now that doesn't make me much money, but I still do it because it's regular income and it's repeat work. And that's, I mean, I charge £50 to do that job, and I collect and deliver the stuff to maybe 10 miles up the road. So actually it doesn't make me much money. However, if you're getting 10 jobs a month, it's £500, which is a nice top up to your monthly wage, if you like. It's good for all sorts of things, templating, jigs, the list goes on. I've actually done, I'll put a little video up now, I've done a topographical relief map for a hotel, and that's of North Wales. It's really nice. I just need to get it painted. So yeah, there's money in that side of it as well. It's just finding the right customers, and it doesn't happen overnight, it takes time. I'm lucky that I've had contacts already in place. So yeah, that's basically what I make with the machine and some of the potential of what you can earn with it as well. So let's just sort of wrap up the costs versus earnings. So I've talked about what I spent on it. That's £20,000. We're going to leave it at £20,000. A few weeks ago I made a large bank of cabinets for a property, and I charged £6,000. The downside to that job was I had to paint it. Painting takes a long time. However, the actual cabinetry, the joinery work, I did all of it in 4 hours on that machine, and basically it was a 10 sheet job. So while the machine was cutting, I was over here sanding the previous sheet and assembling the previous sheet. So you do start to create a production line. That job would have taken me probably 10 days to cut, joint, assemble. So before I had the CNC. So you can just get an idea there of actually what is possible with it. Yeah, I mean, a whole kitchen worth of shaker doors, you're probably looking around £2,000 to £2,500 for an average size kitchen. The markup is really good in this sector. These panels that we've already talked about, if you were doing those, well, look, we've already discussed you could be making over £100 profit an hour just making those. 10 hours a day, that's £1,000 a day profit. So in essence, if you had the work, you could pay that machine off in less than a month, 20 days. Let's be realistic, that's probably not going to happen. But the answer to the title of the video is, can you really pay one off? Yeah, absolutely. That is what they are for. I'm not going to go and say they're literally a money printer machine, because you will make mistakes, you will lose money on certain projects. You might price a job wrong. I priced a job wrong this morning. So that happens. But yeah, they're a great way of making money. And I've found, since I've had the CNC and I've diversified my work to target that sort of stuff more, I'm so much less stressed, which is a huge factor. And I'm probably making more money. So that's great. I think one of the biggest surprises I've had is how many people in your local area actually need CNC work doing, but they don't have access to the machine. So I was had a meeting with a company down the road yesterday. We are in mid Wales, and they were sending all of their CNC work out to Birmingham, which just blew my mind, to be honest. So that side alone, just outsourcing to other local companies, even other CNC companies who are oversubscribed, they can pass you work on. It's just all about having contacts in the trade side of things. Again, another company I work for is an upholstery company, so they do a lot of restaurant seating and stuff like that. I think most of their work, CNC work, comes my way now, which is great. That's what I want to kind of get to the point, is if you do have a CNC, don't just use it for your projects. You want that thing to be working all the time. That is what they're robots at the end of the day, and they're capable of working 24 hours a day. So you want to get the most potential out of it as possible. Another thing you can do is, like, I think a big thing to target is DIYers, because a lot of people like to make their own cabinetry or stuff at home. Well, first of all, they probably haven't even got a table saw, so if they're going and buying sheets of MDF 8x4, they can't cut them tidy to start with. So even just a panel cutting service is a great thing to offer locally. And again, not something I've done yet, but that I am going to do, is get into your local builders merchants and cut a deal. Start selling these to your local builders merchants. Do a whole pack of them. You know, you don't have to make you don't have to make that much profit on them. You could make £5 a panel, and that would still be okay. Maybe £10 a panel would be better, but it would still be a good use of the machine. So yeah, that's kind of that side of it, the cost and money side of things. So one sort of last thing to talk about is reliability and maintenance. So, touch wood, I've been really lucky so far. I've only really had one issue with the machine, and that was that I would start a job and the vacuum pump wasn't coming on, so my workpiece wasn't getting held down. Fortunately, one of the reasons I went with Opus, they're a British company, and their tech support is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm actually super pleased I went with them now. Phoned them up, had a good chat with their tech guy on WhatsApp, and within a couple of hours we were, if you've ever seen inside a control unit of a CNC, it is just an absolute puzzle of cables. So we had to do a bit of fact finding, and actually it just came down to there was just a loose wire, and we were off to go. So things do go wrong. I probably lost half a day trying to get that sorted, and luckily it was something simple. The electrical components in the CNC, a lot of them are readily available. even locally, I found a lot of stuff that was available locally, local electrical factors. In terms of maintenance, I'm going to say they are pretty low maintenance machines. The most important thing is to always keep a sharp cutter on the machine. Dull cutters will put stress on everything. So as long as you're sort of looking after the machine, I hoover it every day. I've got a specific hoover that I bought to keep next to the machine. Every job I give it a good, I just not letting any dust build up anywhere. I know you will find that dust is inevitable with a CNC machine, and it does sit, but especially on the rails and stuff, keep them clean. There's like a lithium grease you can use for the roller bearings on the linear rails. And then, I mean, that's it really. I'll probably discover that it'll need more things over time, but as it stands, it's been super reliable. So I guess to round up, can a CNC really pay for itself? Yeah, absolutely. I'm quite optimistic by this time next year, I'll have another one of those lined up next to it. Hopefully I'll have someone in here just operating the CNC machines, and I can be working on the cabinetry, vice versa. If it's just sat there cutting an odd sign once a month, it's not going to make you any money. Another thing I really wanted to touch on, and this is big, this is a big thing on YouTube and online, is the craft side to it. I've dipped my toes in the water with the craft world, 3D carvings, Christmas decorations. My honest advice, and I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that will prove me wrong, but my honest advice is just don't even consider buying a CNC for that if you want to make money. If you're doing it for hobby, by all means, just go for it. It would be a great retirement project, something like that. The trouble is with small things like that, you rely on high volume. They're low margin products. So you need to be selling hundreds, thousands of those products. Now, to sell those products, some people go to their local craft fair. You're not going to make any money. Simple as that. Like, you're not going to be earning a living, let's say, off that. Then you can go on to sites like Etsy. I've actually got some really cool stuff on Etsy. I've had the shop for like 3 months and I haven't had a single sale. It's such a competitive marketplace. Like, yeah, I think you need to have had a shop for multiple years, and probably to have had a shop from the earlier days to get that visibility on there. So that's something that's in the back of my head quite a lot when I'm talking about CNC, is that a lot of people think you can just buy one and do a 3D carving of a crocodile poking out of a piece of wood or something like that. Reality is, don't waste your time unless it's for hobby. I've got no problem with, I do my own hobby stuff on there as well in my own time, and it's so much fun. That's part of the reason I love CNC, is just they're amazing things to watch, especially when you get into the 3D carving. The map I showed earlier, I'm lucky that I have the custom base who will spend on something like that. I actually charged £2,000 for that map. It was an 18-hour program on the CNC, and as I've already mentioned, I actually messed up quite a few panels, foam panels and MDF panels, before I was able to actually produce a good product with that. So yeah, that's kind of like a freak case of craft type work. But I'm sure there's a niche market for everything, and it's whether you can tap into that market, really. So that's basically my honest take on it. I've tried to be as transparent as I can with what I make. Some people might go, well, you're charging far too much. Well, actually, go out and learn CAD, go and learn SketchUp, learn how to use a CNC. It will take you years to learn properly. I'm lucky I've had a past of not working specifically in design, but I've always done design work, whether that be 3D printing, a bit of product design in previous jobs. Obviously I do a lot of CAD work because I need to show the products I make to customers before they actually commit to buying them. And the reason I do that is because it's no good making something for someone and actually it's not what they had in their head. So if you can show them something before you actually make it, then it's great. So yeah, so you might think it's too much money, like especially with the panels, but actually when you balance out the time, energy and effort that's gone into getting to this stage, well, I think it's it's fair. And like I say, the bigger companies are charging far more for the exact same work. Yeah, just to finish up, I want to say thanks so much for everyone that's watched my previous videos so far. Didn't expect to have any uptake on them at all, so really appreciate that. And if you guys could like and subscribe to my page, that would be incredible. I've got some really cool videos planned. I'm going to talk a lot more in depth about Vectric, and I'm going to do a CNC for beginners video as well. I think that will be really useful, just running through all of the basics of how things work, which will be really good. And yeah, if you have any questions that you think I might be able to answer, please feel free to drop in the comments and I'll try my best to reply. Yeah, appreciate it and see you next time.